people want certainty, it wants clarity, it wants conviction, and it wants you to execute with focus. So it happens that we believe in Bitcoin. But there are plenty of people that trade our stock. You could buy our stock and go long our stock and short Bitcoin.
Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. In this video, we'll be talking about the biggest bull of Bitcoin. And before we start, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Done? Let's get started. The Securities and Exchange Commission has only approved ETFs that track contracts gambling on Bitcoin's future price, rather than the cryptocurrency itself thus far. The Securities and Exchange Commission has refused to approve any of the formal applications for a pure-play Bitcoin-based ETF, a financial instrument that would allow investors to invest in Bitcoin without having to sign up for an exchange, open a crypto wallet, or deal with any of the logistics involved by buying and holding Bitcoin.
For example, if you'd asked the same question to Jeff Bezos in 2003 and said, you just had an 80% loss in Amazon. Do you ever wish you sold Amazon in the year 2001?
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos could have sold Amazon in the year 2000 and avoided a 95% loss. Do you wish he did?
That's true.
But you see how foolish that is, right? For example, Mark Zuckerberg, could have also sold Facebook, just before or just after the IPO and avoided a 50% loss. In fact, Jeff Bezos could have sold Amazon 5 different times and avoided an 80% loss. And if he'd sold at any one of those 5 times, he wouldn't be one of the richest people in the world. So I think that that trying to time the market is a trader mentality. But if you look at all the richest people in the world, they're not traders, right?
They're heartless.
Bill Gates, Steve Ballmer, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, right? Larry Page. Name the person that traded their way to that situation. You can't really do it. Like trying to time the market is ridiculous. If you look at statistical analysis of Bitcoin or the S&P, I think the conclusion generally is that like 80% of your returns come in like 1% of the days.
If there were a spot ETF, you'd pay a 1 percentage point cost and it wouldn't be leveraged. We have a software company that generates cash flow. Therefore, we convert our cash flows into Bitcoin, Saylor adding that the de facto MicroStrategy Bitcoin spot ETF generates a 4% to 5% tax-deferred dividend. Saylor founded MicroStrategy in 1989, and the company has been adding Bitcoin to its corporate balance sheet for the past 2 years, at an average price of $30,700. The business has spent over $4 billion on Bitcoin. Saylor has no plans to stop buying Bitcoin, which means MicroStrategy's exposure to the digital asset will only increase. He wondered aloud, why would we ever stop? As we generate cash flows, we believe it's the responsible thing to do for our shareholders to convert depreciating currency into appreciating assets, said Saylor, who also stated that MicroStrategy is not diversifying because he believes the company owes shareholders a consistent strategy. If you want to be 2% exposed to Bitcoin, you'd put 2% of your portfolio into MicroStrategy, and the remaining 98% of your portfolio might be invested in anything. They don't want an unpredictable and random CEO of a publicly traded company. In August 2022, when MicroStrategy first incorporated Bitcoin into their balance sheet, it was a controversial move. This was at the end of the crypto winter, when the coin was trading at the low $11,000 level and many institutional investors and Wall Street banks were still skeptical of digital assets. They're valuable in part because people think they're worth something. When some of the top names on Wall Street buy into Bitcoin, it goes a long way. Saylor's Bitcoin evangelizing has helped him rise to the top of the community. Throughout the Bitcoin 2022 conference, Saylor was trailed by a crowd of fans hoping to get a selfie with him.
The money supply expanded 36%. The M2 money supply expanded 36% in the US. Gold is up 7%. Gold didn't track the money supply. If we had bought gold, we would be way lagging behind the money supply. The NASDAQ index is up 19%. It barely crawled forward, but it didn't actually keep up with inflation. The S&P is up 29%. So if you bought pretty much all of the desirable companies in the index, it didn't actually hedge your inflation, it lagged inflation. And why? because you're owning securities and the corporate management teams have inefficiencies. They're basically an overhead cost. Bitcoin's up 229% since then. You know, and so when you think about that, what's beating inflation? Bitcoin is. What's losing? The traders are all losing, right? And most of the other assets are lagging.
CEO of Fortune 500 companies come to MicroStrategy for guidance on corporate adoption. MicroStrategy has utilized company debt to buy Bitcoin, and in March, Saylor took another step towards normalizing Bitcoin-backed finance by borrowing $205 million and using his BTC as security to buy additional Bitcoin. "We have $5 billion in Bitcoin," says the narrator. "We took out a $200 million loan, so I'm not advising folks to take out a high-leverage loan. I think what I'm doing is trying to lead the way and standardize the Bitcoin-backed financing business," Saylor said, adding that publicly traded crypto miner Marathon Digital also took up a credit line with Silvergate Bank. As individuals learn they can borrow against something, they realize they don't have to sell it, Saylor told CNBC. They start to broaden their time horizon from its 36-month speculation to it's a 36-year holding. MicroStrategy Incorporated CEO has put his money where his mouth is, investing his personal funds as well as revenue from his software company in cryptocurrencies. Here's the latest on Saylor's thoughts on Bitcoin. Saylor on Bitcoin at the CoinMarketCap crypto conference, Saylor compared Bitcoin to a number of well-known technology companies. Saylor also mentioned Meta platform co-founder Mark Zuckerberg's decision not to sell his company, now known as Facebook, before its initial public offering. "A trader's philosophy is to try to sell before a loss. You can't buy our way into being Jeff Bezos by trading." Stablecoins, according to Saylor, MicroStrategy will not own USD Coin, Terra USD, or DAI on its balance sheet, according to Saylor. "Most people wouldn't know the difference between USD, Circle, and Tether if you ask them," Saylor added. During the conference, Saylor mentioned that stablecoins come with varying amounts of risk. The USD crisis has served to raise awareness of some of the hazards that cryptocurrency investors face. The industry will remain at $1, $2, or $3 trillion as long as regulators do nothing. With 1% or 2% of the money, you may either continue in a regulatory gray zone or develop a clear public policy framework. Saylor sees big institutions like Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan Chase entering the market as a catalyst for adoption. When Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan enter the space, they'll create stablecoins worth $5 billion to $1 trillion. Then you'll see this thing being used by billions of people.
It's going to look like you're not making a lot of money 98% of the time. And then you're going to wake up one day and you're going to find out that the sovereign wealth fund of some Middle Eastern country just bought $10 billion of Bitcoin. It's going to double or it's going to triple. And then you're going to be kicking yourself and screaming, saying, "Oh, well, I could have bought it at blank and I didn't buy it at blank," and you'll be angry. I think that the trading mentality is just really an awful mentality for anyone that, if you're not running proprietary algorithms on high-speed computers, like I get it if you're a high-speed computer trader and you're like slicing a tenth of a penny 1 billion times an hour, like I get that kind of trading, but for 98% of the population, people don't have any proprietary edge to trade. And so generally they all get beat by the market trading.
The company also announced on Monday that it will begin a program to sell an additional $1 billion in stock over time. According to CNBC, the company might use the proceeds from the stock offering to buy Bitcoin, pay down debt, or for general corporate purposes. MicroStrategy stock has been up nearly 62% this year and more than 400% in the last year. The stock finished at $630.54 on Tuesday, up more than $5 on the day. It reached a 52-week high in February when it traded above $1,300. In a recent interview, the interviewer asked him if his significant bet on Bitcoin and all of the flush cash being whipped out of the system is in a sense leverage and money and Bitcoin coming down significantly and not ever reaching any kind of high, particularly lofty height, and then he tends to lose quite significantly. He claims that the denialist will claim that this isn't true and that they will be discredited when the administration, Congress, and regulators embrace Bitcoin. Did you find this video informative or helpful? Let us know in the comments section below. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on my future videos. Don't forget to like and share.